that if you just take a step back and look at the situation, you'll figure out the right answer to how to adjust your training more often than not. Much more often than not. Episode 967 of Diz Runs Radio is a quick tip episode. Today's quick tip: trust yourself. So today, talking about something that I posted the other day, at least as this episode comes out, the first part of August. I posted this just a few days ago in the Facebook group. One of the Daily Diz posts that come up most every day. I guess it's the most Daily Diz posts these days. But I'd come across this quote that said, "Trust yourself. You know more than you think you do." I can't read apparently. Trust yourself. You know more than you think you do. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, man, that's a good one. Because one thing that I've noticed over the years of coaching, runners and working with folks, and even just doing some of the, Q&A episodes or answering questions on social media, doing consult calls, whatever the case might be, is that a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times when I get questions or when it's like, I don't know, should I do X or Y? When I engage in the conversation, the person usually has a pretty good idea of what they think the right answer is, the quote-unquote right answer. And I would say that, 9 times out of 10, maybe even higher percentage than that, 99 times out of 100, whatever, somewhere I'm making up a percentage, somewhere in the upper 90 percentile range. What the person thinks would be a good option to take or a good choice to make or a good answer to the question is almost always what I would say, yeah, like, exactly. Might be a little bit variance. It might be a degree or two off of what I'm thinking, but you know what? At the end of the day, the alignment is so far there, so close, so like you know what you're doing, right? And sometimes we feel like we need that external validation, whether it's from a coach, training partner, whatever. We need somebody else to confirm what we think we know. And I guess the point today, and maybe this will be a quick tip than usual. Maybe this will actually be a quick tip. I don't know. I feel like I say that about every third quick tip, and they still end up being 25 or 30 minutes. So who knows? But the point I'm trying to make today is that no one really knows you like you do, right? Like, you know yourself better than anyone else. Your parents, they probably know you pretty good. They raised you, right? So they know you pretty well. Your spouse or your partner, they probably know you pretty well because they live with you. They see you at your highest and your lowest and everywhere in between. They know you pretty well. Your kids, certainly, is one thing I'm learning as Addison continues to grow up, is that she's always watching, always paying attention, probably listening right now. She knows me pretty well. But none of them, Rebecca, Addison, my parents, none of them know me as well as I do. Even some of the other folks that really kind of know us pretty well, our training partners, friends that we've had forever. It doesn't matter. Your doctor, like your psychiatrist, it doesn't matter. They all know you pretty well, but no one knows you like you do. No one has that insight into exactly what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing in the way that you do. And I know that is not exactly profound, not exactly an earth-shattering revelation, but I think it's important to remember when it comes to asking for advice, especially running and otherwise, but obviously coming at it from a running perspective today. When you're asking for advice, how to adjust the schedule, what do I do? Should I run today or not, dealing with an injury or this or that or whatever the case might be? I don't think it's a bad thing to ask for advice. As a coach, as somebody who basically makes my living by giving advice to runners about what they might want to do in the coming days, weeks, months, building towards their goals, I don't want to talk myself out of a job, but I think that it's important to realize that you probably know, at least as far as running goes and what to do for your body, for what you need, more than anyone. You probably know more than you give yourself credit for. And there's examples, right? I mean, there's so many different examples of that. and I'll give you a few because if I tried to give you all the examples that I could think about, this absolutely would not be a quick tip. And we're gonna try to keep the quick tips in the quick tip range, but you never know. But here are some things that again, over the years, the types of conversations, the type of, obviously no specifics, but the type of things that I've talked about with athletes that I coach, consult calls, or even just sometimes, Q&A episodes, things like that, various social media questions, where, again, you know more than you think you do. You know how to solve these problems. So if you're in a position right now where you don't have somebody to bounce some ideas off of, whether it's a coach, whether it's a training partner, whether it's a community of runners, whatever. I mean, you got me, so you can always ask me those questions as well. But again, I don't know you as well as you do. So here are some things where you probably can get the right answer just by trusting your gut, by trusting your own intuition, by trusting that knowledge that you have for yourself. Perhaps the most common situation where people come to me asking questions or asking for advice, and maybe some things where you've done the same thing, whether it's to me or someone else before, is when it comes to adjusting your running plan to the curveballs that life throws at us, right? And I don't know how many times I've said that life is going to life. It's going to life. It's going to keep happening. It's happened before. It's happened. It may be happening right now for some of us. Certainly will continue to happen in the future. And as such, we need to be able to adjust or be willing to adjust our training, adjust what we're doing from a running perspective based on the ebbs and flows of life. There's emergencies at work, some actual emergencies, some pseudo emergencies, but in any event, times when work gets a little bit crazy. There's time when kids get sick. There's times when, school is out for the day or out for holiday break or out for summer break, and that throws a wrench into things. There's times when, hopefully not any time again soon, if we can ever actually get out of this pandemic, but there are times when there's a global pandemic that throws everything upside down. And when that happens, adjustments are necessary. When any of those things happen, and any of a dozen other examples happen, adjustments to the routine are necessary. And I think sometimes it's easy to get caught up in trying to make the perfect adjustment and not being sure what the perfect adjustment is, and then making no adjustment because you don't want to make the quote-unquote wrong adjustment. And I'm here to tell you that if you just take a step back and look at the situation, you'll figure out the right answer to how to adjust your training more often than not, much more often than not. Maybe it's skipping a day. Maybe it's skipping a week. Maybe it's moving your workouts around so that instead of having, 2 workouts or 2 running days and then an off day and then 2 running days and then an off day and then a long run, whatever your schedule is, maybe you end up with 3 days in a row, or maybe you end up with 4 days in a row and 2 off days, like whatever. Listen to your body. Listen to, or at least be aware of, the situations at hand of lifing and what you need to do to keep your head above the water, stay floating, keep moving forward in other areas of your life, and then plug your runs in to how that's going to happen, or how you think that may best happen. And here's the truth. If you think it's the best way to make it happen, it's the best way to make it happen. I could give you a dozen examples or 1,000 examples or 1,000,000 examples of, if this, then this is what I would do. But there's always other variables at play. There's always other things that need to be considered. And again, these are the types of variables, the considerations, the family dynamics, the work dynamics, the dynamics of maybe safety. I can tell you to get up and run in the morning, but if you're not comfortable running in the morning because it's still dark in the area you live, that's a non-starter, right? So all of those things that I can give advice or I can give suggestions on, for yourself, yes, this works. No, that one's not for me. So if you're in a position where you need to adjust your training to life, trust your gut, trust your instinct. It's not going to steer you wrong most of the time, especially for something like adjusting your running to fit the ups and downs of life. It's going to work out just fine. Another example, and along a very similar line, but another example, creating training plans. When now that races are coming back, and hopefully they'll stay on the calendar now that Delta's doing Delta things. But we got big expectations for races this fall and into next year. So you got races that you're signed up for. You're excited. You have goals. Maybe it's your first chance to really get out there, stretch your legs, and aim for that PR that got derailed when the pandemic started a year ago. And you're trying to put the perfect plan together. Okay? I'm here to tell you, as a guy who, again, gets paid to put training together for people, that it's not that complicated. And if you need some help, I know a book. I think I wrote a book. It's called Be Ready on Race Day, right? You've heard me talk about that before as well. Check that out. That'll help you put the plan together. And one thing that if we had a drinking game of my book, one of the things that we'd have to be careful about that would cause maybe a few too many drinks to be taken is the idea that putting a plan together is more art than it is science. Meaning, there's very few things. I would maybe go so far as to say there are 0 things in a good, comprehensive, well-rounded training plan that are absolute musts. There's no absolute perfect, this is how you progress from one week to the next in terms of increasing your mileage. There's no exact, these are the best workouts if your goal is for this distance race or this type of PR. Does it really matter if you do quarter-mile repeats or half-mile repeats? No, not really. Maybe if you're the elite of the elite, right? If the difference is you're looking at running a 2 hour and 4 minute marathon versus a 2 hour and 2 minute marathon, or whatever, scale that up and down. Even 3 hours, 3 hours and 10 minutes. Maybe in that range, maybe, but probably not. Probably not. So when it comes to those types of things, when it comes to should I do my long runs on Saturday or Sunday, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Should I do a 5-mile tempo run or a 4-mile tempo run? It doesn't matter. 10 repeats or 8 repeats. It doesn't matter. So that's where, again, trusting yourself to make the right decision based on how you're feeling, what kind of workouts are the ones that you're more likely to nail. For me, I can do a quarter-mile repeat. Even I can do a half-mile repeat, like a workout of those, and pretty much push my limit every repeat. I can do those workouts really well. A workout I struggle with is a tempo run. Now, some might say I should do more tempo runs so I can get better at pacing myself and pushing that effort. I don't know that I would say that you're wrong. However, if I'm only going to do, which I'm currently only doing, one good hard workout per month, I want to do workouts that I'm going to nail, that I'm going to get right, that I'm going to get the maximum maximum benefit from the effort. So that's why most of the time I'm doing some type of short, hard repeat, because I don't want to, not screw up, but I don't want to get half benefit from a swing and a miss on a tempo run. And guess what? They're working for me. So there's an example, an actual concrete example where if I had a coach and they were like, hey, Diz, do a tempo run this week. Do a tempo run for this month's workout. I would do it, right? If I'm paying for a coach, I'm going to do what they're asking me to do. But if I'm putting my own plan together, which is what I'm doing, and I'm hemming and hawing between struggling to do a good tempo workout or absolutely leaving it all on the road or on the track to do a quarter-mile repeat workout, easy choice. I know myself. I know which workout I'm going to excel at. And so again, when you're putting your plans together, when you're progressing up, when you're trying to figure out which days or which workouts to do, trust yourself. Don't feel like you have to do your long runs on Saturday because that's when the group does their long runs. If you know that Friday's usually a little bit later night for you because of whatever the work happy hour, or your kid plays high school football, so you always have high school football games on Friday coming up in the fall, and you're going to get home late and you trying to get up for a set. All right, just make your long run Sunday. Trust yourself to know what the right scheduling is for you when you're putting a plan together. Because again, it's more art than science. There's a lot of wiggle room. As long as you're being consistent, you're going to be probably fine. Last but not least are the examples, and we're already getting up to that 20-minute mark, so much for that. This is going to be a short and sweet kind of quick tip episode for a change. But this one's coming. Dealing with the aches and pains and the niggles and the things like that most all of us have experienced in some form or another at some time or another. Maybe currently, hopefully not too many in the future, but it's always out there, always a possibility. And this is, I guess, maybe one where it's a little bit slippery, a little bit dicey, because I'm going to tell you to trust yourself of whether or not you should run today. And I know that I have at least a few, maybe more than a few, but I don't want to condemn the innocent of the athletes I coach, that if I told them, hey, just give it a shot and see how it feels, means they're going to do their whole bloody workout and potentially make things worse. But when it comes to deciding what to do, when you've got a little case of plantar fasciitis, you got a little IT band grumpiness going on, or whatever the case might be, you know how you're feeling. You know what your body is telling you, if you're paying attention, which hopefully you are. So if you get out there to go for a run and you're like, I don't know. I mean, this doesn't feel like it's getting any better. Trust yourself. Don't second guess. Don't think, this is going to set me back for the race I'm working towards, or my coach is going to be like, dude, what happened? Like, speaking for only myself as the coach, and those of you that pay me to do the coaching, listen closely. You go out for a run when things are a little bit off, and I say, hey, give it a shot, see what you think, pull back if necessary, and you feel like you have to do the whole workout because you're going to have to report back to me, we're missing something. We've got a misconnection going on. If your body's telling you that today's not the day, maybe just from fatigue, maybe there is an actual niggle going on, it's okay. Listen to your body. Trust your body. Trust yourself. Don't second guess. Don't think that, we got to make training perfect. Training's not going to be perfect. So take that day off if you need it. And again, for my folks, and I think any good coach would hopefully any good quality coach would say this, that missing of one workout is better than rolling the dice with pushing through it, and now you're missing a week or a month because you made the situation worse, right? So trust yourself when you've got a little niggle going on. Trust yourself when your body is telling you that something's not right. It's not lying to you. Okay? So trust yourself on that. Don't try to convince yourself, no, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Once in a while that plays itself out. More often than not, that makes things get worse. So trust yourself. Trust yourself. And that's the moral of the story. That's what I said 20 minutes ago, and I probably could have cut it off then. Trust yourself. You know yourself better than anybody else does. You know what you're really feeling. You know the score, if you will. So, when you're not sure what to do, when it's an A or B and I don't know which one, ask for some advice. Like, again, there's nothing wrong with asking for advice. Asking your running friends, asking people on social media, asking a coach if you have one, or asking me if you just want my advice, even though I may not be your coach. That's fine. Ask. But if push comes to shove, or if you're getting kind of semi-conflicting advice, or at least some advice that's not like, oh yeah, this idea, this option is a poor option because XYZ, this one's a much better option, then trust your gut. Trust what you know about yourself, about your body, about your running, and then just do what needs to be done. All right? Hope all that makes sense. Hope that's helpful. If it is, let me know. If it's not, let me know. Either way, let me know. At DizRuns on Twitter, at DizRuns on Instagram. You can also send an email to dizruns@gmail.com. You can also head over to the show notes for today, dizruns.com/967. dizruns.com/967 is the link for the show notes today. A few memes, few GIFs. Not over the top this week for a change. We'll be back on track next week, hopefully. But a couple of photos, a couple of memes and GIFs. Let's not kid ourselves. In the show notes for today. And there's also that comment section down at the bottom, of course. You can leave your thoughts and feedbacks and takeaways there. You can also leave your thoughts and feedbacks in the old YouTube comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can, or listening to this, I guess watching a still screen on YouTube while I'm rambling on. You can leave your comments there as well. One more time, thanks to Sherry for jumping on board the Patreon train, and anybody else who wants to join Patreon and get access to the book club. every month that we do that has become pretty fun. Something that I know that I look forward to every month, and hopefully others do as well. Patreon.com/DizRuns. Patreon.com/DizRuns. $1, $2, $5, whatever it's worth to you. It's appreciated by me. And if it's not in the cards right now, no worries. I appreciate you just listening and telling others about the show. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Once again, guys, thank you for listening. Thanks for all the support and all the myriad of ways that you provide it. And until next time, be well. Take good care. Thanks again for listening. And we'll talk soon, all right? See you.